Hello everybody, welcome to another Joey's Fixes video. Now, today we're gonna be doing it's a reversible fix on Bruticus's elbows. Now, we're gonna primarily be fixing his elbows, but I just want to take a moment to show you guys a configuration for blast off that, just to make it look nicer, because as you can see, okay, with the gun off, okay, see over here, so I have his arms, okay, if you guys know, this panel over here is supposed to stay up in the original position, and it had one small tab that can close the gap over here. Now, in theory, since this is the same width as that gap, it can just go in. You have to put it at an angle. So let me just get that right. Okay, so you see, right, as you guys can see, that will go in at a slight angle. So when it goes in, it doesn't go fully straight, never. There. So when it goes in at a slight angle. Then it goes just push that in. Then that secures. And you still have enough room to wiggle that. Yes, focus. Okay, so there's still enough room to wiggle freely, and I usually just wiggle, just swivel it until it stops. It stops at the second focus. Oh, bummer. Come on, there we go. It stops at that second ridge on Blastoff's shoulder piece. Stops right there. See, doesn't move any further than that. And we just push. Focus. There we go. Okay, so we just push his shoulder piece all the way up. Then on this double hinge, you push the one on the purple one fully flat, and then just push the rest down. Now, surprisingly, this is pretty much level. I mean, it's pretty much straight, and that looks way better than how the stock transformation is. And then you just put the gun here, or you can also, let's pan down a bit. You can also put the gun here, or here if you want, so it sticks out a bit. I chose to just put it on top, right there. Now, for the main event, Bruticus's elbows. Now, let me check the camera. Sorry, I'm moving a lot. Alright, for the elbow pieces on Bruticus, now, this is his stock transformation right now, right there. It has all the details, but there's one problem with this. Right now, if you want to bend his elbows, it bends at that crotch, that hip joint right there, and that does not look right. I mean, if you're going to pose this guy, yeah, you can see. That does not look right. Not right at all. I mean, that's way too high. That's still like part of the bicep. Now, one solution that people have made was if you rotate his what do you call that? this part. 180, then you rotate the hand 180. You can have a curve, you know, that is basically where the elbow should be, but then you lose all the detail there, and this is really plain. Now, I have found a fix. I'm pretty sure no one has done this yet, but if somebody has, I don't know you, congrats on figuring this one out. So, on my version, it has the details here, and it still can bend there. See? That's more or less the correct distance for an elbow. Right there. Now, I can also do that on Vortex's arm. I'll show you how in a moment. Alright, we're gonna start with Blastoff's arm first. Okay, so I have him in the normal configuration. This is how you usually have your Blastoff. Okay, now first I want to say this is a reversible fix, and when you do this fix, you can still enter shuttle mode perfectly fine. You can also enter robot mode fine, but posability will be affected. Okay, but it is reversible, so if you want to pose it in robot mode, you just have to reverse the fix. In every other mode, it's fine. Okay, so first you remove the wings, put them off to the side. You remove these missile slash top part of the rear end with the fin. Put that off. You open the legs and put the fist apart now. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is basically reversing these two thigh pieces. So this goes there, this goes there. First, we're gonna have to disassemble this part. So we take out these two screws, also same here, these two screws. That will loosen these two up. So I'll just do that off camera. Alright, these 4 screws are now loosened. Now you can actually, it's safer actually to do all 4 on both sides. You can just do it with 2 and then just wedge it a bit out. It's pretty easy there. Just pull it off and just, you know, tilt it a bit, tilt it, then just pull, tilt and pull. Right, so now we're left with these 2. Take out the 4 screws right there. Might as well put this here. Okay, so I'll do that off camera as well. Alright, 4 screws loosened. Now gently bring them apart. Okay, then take this, then wiggle it. Now you can actually just, never mind. Okay, so just pull them apart. Come on, work with me, please. Come on. I gotta loosen that up a bit more. There we go. So be sure to actually just put them there on where it's supposed to go. Left on left, right on right. It just makes things easier because many of these parts look very similar. Okay, that one went a lot easier. Right, so there we have the setting. Now what you want to do is take this, put it here, and this there. That's basically what all you're doing. So take your Blastoff figure, take the screwless part, put it on top, well actually bottom, to make it easier for screwing back. Now you take this. For anyone who's wondering how my screws stay on, I basically screw it loosen it until it wiggles and then screw it one circle back. That's how it stays on this surface. So screw that back on. Okay, sometimes you have to move it a bit so it shuts properly. So that, make sure this piece with the hole, not the one with this gear, is facing you, because that, we need that movement for our Bruticus mode elbow. So I'll do that to the other side as well. Just put it in, wiggle it a bit, screw it back on. Okay, if the camera is, you know, not focusing, I'm sorry, because this camera is pretty shitty. I mean, the screen is tiny. Okay, so we got that back on. Now we just screw this back on. So do it like this. Hole, it pivots up, and then the detailed piece facing the same direction. So all the screws are facing you. Do it the same way. Wedge it in, either side is fine, then push it in. And since this, how this works is that the slider is right on the center of that gray piece, and also on the center of this, the track inside this brown piece. So yeah, you can switch it around without much of a fuss. It's really simple. And do it on the other side as well. Wedge it in, wedge one side in, then push. Sorry about that. Okay, screw that back in. This is only my second video, so I apologize if you don't quite like how I present. I'm still learning. Right, everything's tight. Now we put in the fist. Lock that in place. Turn. Then put this. Line the bottom ones first. That's always easier. Push. Then squeeze the top. Then the bottom. Then we'll put the wings back on. And the other wing back on. And now you have, I zoom out first and switch camera angle while I'm like that. Now you have an arm with accurate elbow length and also accurate details as how we've been told it, you know, as how the promotional pictures show. So yeah. Now, on the original, you know, when it went there, it didn't exactly cover 90 degrees as well. But since it has that cut out right there, when you switch it around, you lose a bit more than if you were to go there. So, but that's still decent enough. I mean, after you reach this part, then you start using that. I mean, that, yeah, that looks a bit natural, doesn't it? So yeah, that's for blast off side. Next we're gonna take a look at how Vortex's side goes. Alright, now to Vortex's side. I didn't show this while it was still connected to Bruticus, but I also, you know, did my own version of how the arms should go. So if we focus, there we go. Now I have the configuration like this. So his shoulder piece still faces the same way. Okay, if this is how it originally, wait, gosh, that thing. Okay, so in vehicle mode it goes in like that. Out of the way. Okay, vehicle mode it goes like that. You just take this, swing it out, flip it 90 degrees, then push it back in. Now, how to see it will stop, because as you see over here, if you can focus, oh boy, this is gonna be hard. Okay, so the edge of this wing will stop right at the ridge there. You know, that piece where we can put our fingers underneath to take out this panel? The end of this wing will stop right on the bottom there. That's how when you do that, just adjust the shoulder piece, because it's still pretty much free. Now with this, it doesn't really lock, but then it's better than nothing. I mean, it at least has a stopping point. And I think that looks okay. I mean, it's not as obtrusive. I mean, you don't have something that huge, and you can still see the cockpit nicely. And this is still on the top, so it's still more or less how the vehicle mode looks like. So I think that looks fine. Okay, now on to the elbow piece. Now, as I've said before, some cutting is required, but it's really minimal. As you can see, there's not much of a difference there, right? We cut on this black piece, so you can't see much of the cut. I mean, I guess you can on right where the black part meets the gray. I mean, you can see a slight, you know, hole gap. I'll just show you. Okay, so this panel. Okay, so we just take that and split his legs. Take the fist out. This is always troublesome. That to accommodate. Now we're gonna do exact same thing as we did with blast off, with some additional steps. So on Vortex, you see there are, let me use the screwdriver, I have big fingers. So we take out these two and these two to release the shin pieces. Then we take out these two screws, and then we switch the hips. That's basically what you have to do. So I'll just disassemble this off screen. I'll put it on the ground, 1, 2, 3, 4, like how I did with blast off. Okay, to take note, when unscrewing this, you want to hold on to the shin pieces, because this part, like right until this here, this is what's holding this part to this part. So if you were just to keep pushing, I'll just show you, because I know how things go. There, if that part falls off, see, because you can see this is what's holding this together, so be careful. Okay, so we'll take that and just set it off. Okay, so now we have Vortex more or less disassembled. Now we'll take this. Yeah, focus. So as you can see, that hole right there is off-centered. So that hole basically is what this teeny tiny black. Alright, finally got it to focus. So yeah, this black hole that's off-centered, you know, this clips on. It clips onto this black thin piece in the middle of between this bar and this gear section. So when you reverse it, some cutting is required. Now you can do it without the cutting, but it will force the plastic to, you know, it has to stretch the plastic a bit, and that terrifies me. I don't know how long that will last. So just some minor cutting is required. So alrighty. So I've done some cutting to the edge of this black bar here. you cut off around, like, say, half a centimeter. Okay, that's how you look at it straight, so it's lower than this piece. Just a little bit would do. And also, if you can see this edge of the gear here, take your vortex and compare your version of this gear to mine. You see, it has a slight, this area here. Cut that out, because that will accommodate for those. When you cut those two out, it will accommodate for the offset in this. Because it's offset, so when you switch it around, that black gear, the edge of that black gear will hit against the edge of this piece right here. So you have to cut a teeny tiny cutout for that. That's all you need. Then after you cut that for both sides, you can just switch it. That's just a tiny detail over there from the gear, so it doesn't affect robot mode that much. And this black bar is inside the shin piece, so for me that's no problem. So we'll switch it. Okay, so this alright, take that away. So it's the same thing. This goes there now, this goes there now. Alright, so we'll take this, wiggle it free. This one's kinda harder because I'll show you first. Okay, so this blue inner piece, oh damn, it's not focusing. Come on. There we go. So this blue piece goes into this blue slot hole here. So yeah, that frictions in really well, but not tight though, so it's still doable. So left hip goes on to the right. Put that in, put that in, squeeze it into place, then screw it all back in. It helps if you actually support the other piece with your finger. And it also helps a lot when you're not doing this with the camera underneath your chin. Yeah, the screws on Vortex are pretty long. Okay, so take the other side. Open that up. Alright, sorry about that, I bumped the camera and it fell on me, so... Right, now let's get on with it. Now we've put this on, the screw is facing inwards and elbow bends to where the crotch is. So now we take piece with the details on, pry it gently. Now one tip I'd say how to hold this thing is grab this, push it against your middle finger like that. That allows you to pry this more or less easily. Have your middle finger push against the top of this, because that will keep all these two pieces in place. Because as you know, as I told you just now, this piece and the piece above it are two separate pieces. You don't want that to disintegrate on you. So now with all of that cut, because yeah, this groove has to fit onto that black inner piece. So when you've cut enough, you'll know you've cut enough when it's sits right on the groove and it doesn't stretch the plastic. So hold it together and put this piece back in, squeeze, there we go, and just screw it back in place. Alright. There we go. Take the other piece. Be careful. Take this out. See, I have the middle finger there and the thumb holding the bottom piece. Now, oopsie. Oh crap. There. Okay. No problem. Get that out of the way so I can show you guys. Same thing. Tab it in, push it all the way there. Make sure that black bar fits to the groove it's supposed to fit in. That thing is gonna fall apart. Okay, push the inner piece. Screw everything back in. Screw it back in. There we go. So just put the fist back in. Okay, accordion everything properly. Whoopsie. Okay. Whoa. Sorry about that. It helps if you actually just push this all apart. There we go. And put everything properly, then swivel this around, and now you have the detail showing and still a bend at the correct place. Now, because it is offset, as you can see, a lot of this piece is, on the front now. So the only downside to this is that it will bump onto this piece, but you can just slide this out of the way. And it's covered enough by the guns, I suppose, that you can't see too much of it being bent out of its normal shape. I mean, you can see the gap there a bit, then it's also covered by the propellers, so it's not too much of a loss, actually. Yeah, and that's its full bend. On this one you can bend it fully, so that's nice. Alright, and that was all we had to do. I've put Blast Off and Vortex back on, and now, as you can see, we have the correct length for the bicep and the elbow on both hands. Wait, yeah, you gotta move that out of the way. So yeah, that looks so much more natural, doesn't it? And that was the video for the reversible fix on Warbotron's Bruticus. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye.